Science and philosophy have been intertwined for centuries. In fact, the roots of modern science can be traced back to the ancient Greece, where philosophers like Aristotle made significant contributions to the development of scientific thought. Aristotle's work on logic, metaphysics, and ethics provided a framework of scientific inquiry that was influential for centuries to come. Similarly, the works of other Greek philosophers, such as Plato and Pythagoras, are also influenced early scientific thought. Over time, the relationship between science and philosophy continued to evolve, the philosophers and scientists calibrating and building on each other's work. Today, the intersection of science and philosophy remains an important area of study as we continue to seek a deeper understanding of the world around us. Scientific discoveries can provide evidence that informs philosophical debates. For example, studies on the neuroscience of consciousness can inform debates about the nature of the mind and the relationship between the mind and the body. Similarly, studies on the evolution of morality can inform debates about the origins of moral beliefs and whether they are innate or culturally constructed. Philosophical thinkers can help scientists critically examine their assumptions and beliefs about the natural world. For example, philosophical arguments for against the existence of a universal reality can help the scientists think more deeply about their theories and assumptions. Similarly, philosophical debate about the nature of causes or the relationship between observation and theory can help scientists refine their understanding of the scientific methodology. While science and philosophy may seem like unrelated fields, they are actually deeper intertwined. Let's take a closer look at how they relate to each other. At a first glance, science and philosophy seem like they have little in common. Science is often associated with the empirical observation, experimentation, and the discovery of new facts about the natural world. On the other hand, philosophy is often associated with abstract, speculative thinking about the nature of reality, knowledge, and morality. While science is focused on empirical observation and experimentation, philosophy can help provide a framework for interpreting the results of scientific research. For example, ethical consideration may come into play when conducting certain types of scientific research, such as experiments on human subjects. Philosophical concepts like, hopefully I don't butcher these, utilitarianism, emphasizing maximizing overall happiness and minimizing overall suffering in society, or deontology, emphasizes the moral obligation to follow certain rules or duties regardless of the consequences. These can help scientists think through the ethical implications of their research and make informed decisions. Science employs the scientific method, which involves formulating a hypothesis, testing them through empirical observation and experimentation, and refining or discarding them based on the evidence. One famous example of how scientific discoveries can occur through a combination of empirical observation and experimentation in the discovery of penicillin by Alexander Fleming in 1928. Fleming accidentally left a petri dish of, hopefully I don't butcher these as well, he left a petri dish of Staphylococcus bacteria. I apologize for saying that. Bacteria uncovered in his lab, which allowed mold spores to settle on the dish. Upon noticing that the bacteria around the mold had died, Fleming conducted further experiments and eventually identified that the mold as a strain of penicillin. This accidentally observational observation and subsequent experimentation led to the development of penicillin. Oh my goodness. One of the most important antibiotics in the modern society, in the modern medicine. I don't know where I got society from. Philosophy, on the other hand, relies on conceptual analysis, logical argumentation, and critical reflection to uncover the underlying assumptions and implications of our beliefs and concepts. Despite these differences, science and philosophy can share a common goal to understand the world and our place in it. And this shared goal means that they can learn from each other in a variety of ways. Despite the common goal of science and philosophy, there have been times when scientists and philosophers have faced opposition and struggled to pursue their ideas. For example, Galileo and other early astronomers faced significant opposition for their controversial idea about the universe, which challenged prevailing beliefs at the time. Despite this opposition, they persisted in their pursuit of knowledge, using observation and experimentation to support their claims. These anecdotes remind us of the importance of perseverance in the face of adversity, and the critical role that scientific and philosophical inquiry can play in advancing our understanding of the world. Similarly, as science advances, it can also challenge philosophical assumptions. For instance, the discovery of the heliocentric model of the solar system by Copernicus, challenged by Aristotelian's idea that the Earth was the center of the universe. This discovery had a profound impact on philosophers, as it forced philosophers to rethink their ideas about the nature of the universe. One perspective of scientific knowledge is empiricism, I hope I said that right, which emphasizes the importance of observation and experience in scientific inquiry. Let's explain this further. Empiricists believe that scientific knowledge is grounded in empirical observation and experimentation. As discussed in this podcast, the scientific method relies on formulating hypotheses, testing them through empirical observation and experimentation, and refining or discarding them based on evidence. Empiricists emphasize the importance of observation, scientific inquiry, and argue that theories must be grounded in empirical evidence to be considered true. While empiricism is a common perspective. While empiricism is a common perspective in philosophy of science, there are other ways of thinking about scientific knowledge. One such perspective is rationalism, which emphasizes the role of reason and logical analysis. Rationalists believe that scientific knowledge is based on reason and logical analysis. They argue that the human mind is capable of uncovering fundamental truths about the world through the use of reason and deduction. While rationalism is less commonly associated with the philosophy of science than empiricalism, there are still important ways in which reason and logic play a role in scientific inquiry. For example, scientists use deductive reasoning to develop theories and hypotheses, and use mathematical models to analyze and understand complex systems. Another perspective on scientific knowledge is positivism argues that scientific knowledge should be based on only observable, variable facts. They reject any claim that cannot be directly observed or measured as unscientific. This perspective is reflected in the scientific method, which relies on empirical observation and experimentation to test theories and hypotheses. Positivism emphasizes the importance of objects, verifiable evidence, and scientific inquiry, and seeks to eliminate any biases or subjectivity from scientific research. While while positivism is a widely held view, there are critiques on this perspective. One such critique is critical realism, which recognizes the complex interplay between the natural world and the human practice in shaping scientific knowledge. Critical realists believe that scientific knowledge is both a product of the natural world and of human social and cultural practices. They argue that scientific theories are neither completely objective nor purely subjective, but are rather suited within a complex web of social, culture, and historical factors. Critical realism emphasizes the importance of understanding the social and cultural context in which scientific research takes place, and seeks to uncover the ways in which these contexts shape scientific knowledge and practices. Many of the most pressing issues facing society today require a collaborative approach that draws on both scientific and philosophical enterprise. For example, addressing the ethical implications of emerging technologies such as AI or genetic engineering requires both scientific knowledge and philosophical reflection. By working together, scientists and philosophers can help ensure that the benefits of technology advances are balanced with ethical consideration, and that the potential risks are identified and mitigated. Yeah, sorry, my mind was trying to read that. By examining these various perspectives on scientific knowledge, we can see how science and philosophy can work together to deepen our understanding of the world. So, while science and philosophy might seem like very different disciplines, they are in fact deeply interconnected and complementary. Each has much to offer the other, and together they can help to deepen our understanding of the world and our place in it. And that is all for today's podcast on philosophy of science. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'm looking forward to share more content here later on. And hopefully I didn't speed through this. I just kind of read it. I read it, and there was editing is gonna be fun, but let's enjoy this stuff. Anyway, have a good day, evening, night, or whenever you listen to this episode. Take care. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.